All Access News special report as we bring you continuing coverage of the powerful and dangerous winter storm expected to sweep across the southeast region tonight. At this hour, hazardous conditions are rapidly developing as severe snow, ice, and freezing rain is expected, which would create dangerous travel conditions, down power lines, and life-threatening impacts across multiple states. Our team of meteorologists and reporters is tracking this storm in real time, breaking down what's happening now, what's coming next, and how long these impacts could last, bringing you the latest forecasts, safety information, and live updates to keep you informed and prepared. This is an All Access News special report. Now, here are Nick Allen and Jake Vesey.
All Access News special report. I'm Jake Vesey.
And I'm Nick Allen. Our team of reporters is spread out across the entire campus and beyond, covering all of the action tonight. We will check in with everyone shortly.
But we begin tonight with our Marissa Janis, who is following the storm closely. And Marissa, we know you've been tracking the weather this whole week as we've been ongoing. And so what can you tell us about what's happening right now?
Right, Jake. So the weather today is absolutely insane. I mean, you step outside and you are freezing to death. I mean, it's absolutely crazy right now. So the weather right now, I mean, we can see it as you step outside. We see the sleet. It's already starting to kind of cover the ground, which is just great. I mean, we've got something, guys. That's always a positive. So I can't believe that it finally has snowed. We finally speak. And so for the next 3 hours, we are going to be covering that closely, and we're going to be breaking it down even further, seeing what it's going to be like tonight and tomorrow, and then as well on Monday, as that's when it's finally going to start to clear off. But we're still going to see the effects, and I cannot wait to break that down. So I feel like that it's going to be a great, great time. So we've kind of got a lot that's going on tonight, and we're going to break down the snow, the sleet, and the freezing rain that's going to be coming on in. So that is what we're going to be dealing with today. And I am just so ready to see what our forecast has for us, and just to be able to step outside and make sure that I bundle up because it is absolutely freezing. Guys, how are we feeling?
Marissa, you know, we were just outside a few minutes ago before we came live as we were dealing with those technical difficulties. And let me tell you, the sleet is really starting to come down, and we'll check in with all of our reporters soon. So we know that you're tracking it, and they are as well.
Yeah, Marissa, we haven't seen snow in over a year.
Right.
And for this to come, I mean, just a week ago, it was in the 50s and in the 60s, and we were even questioning whether or not there was going to be any sort of snow. And even now, with all these updates, we were still questioning even yesterday.
Absolutely.
And now that there's finally, like you just mentioned, there's a little freezing rain on the ground and stuff like that. It's a good sign to see. We haven't seen snow in over a year.
Absolutely.
Well, Marissa, thank you.
Thank you, Marissa.
Thank you.
The state of North Carolina has been in a state of emergency since Wednesday of what is most likely going to be a generational winter storm and quite possibly the worst ice storm the state has seen in decades. Governor Josh Stein said, quote, "Starting Saturday, please stay off the roads unless absolutely necessary. Prepare everything you need to stay warm, fed, and safe in your homes for at least the next few days. We are taking this storm seriously, and so should you. Let's work together to keep ourselves and each other safe." In that quote, he said, Nick.
And let's go over what we know right now. High Point University campus will remain open and operational through the storm at this time. All campus-wide events are in a regular schedule. HPU will continue to monitor the forecast and share updates via HPU email and HPU social media, including Instagram and Facebook. Class cancellations or service suspensions will be communicated by the Campus Concierge and the Office of Communications. Campus Concierge is available 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. via phone, email, and Facebook. The Campus Concierge desk will also be open in Slane Student Center for in-person assistance from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Campus police and security are available 24/7 at 336-841-9112. Student Life will be available via your RA. All classes are on a regular schedule. If changes are made due to inclement weather, updates will be communicated by 5:30 a.m. on Monday to students and faculty via HPU email and social media.
Yeah, and we'll take a look outside now at those current conditions of the weather on campus at the moment.
Our team of reporters are spread throughout the area. Our team coverage begins with Harper Anderson live outside the Slane Student Center. Harper.
Well, Nick, it seems like we're having some technical difficulties. We'll talk here for a second with Marissa as we go through this challenge right now. And once they have that all situated, we'll be sure to check back in. Like we said, this has been kind of a crazy thing. You know, originally in the early part of the week, they were talking about possibly getting upwards of 15 to 20 inches of snow. Right. And now we're looking at today, and we're talking about maybe, you know, an inch or two of snow, but more than 3/4 possibly inches of ice. Right. Three-quarters of an inch of ice. So it's a really big storm. You don't see that often in the South. It takes a lot of moisture and, you know, the high and low pressure to come together for this to happen.
And obviously more dangerous too when you have that much ice. 15 inches of snow, right? That's when you have that when you have that level of snow, you're not as concerned. But when you have this level of ice coming, this brings a lot of concern with travel conditions, and that's why these grocery stores, the Walmarts, the Targets, the Publix's, Food Lions, are so packed with people as well as the gas stations.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And now tossing it over to Harper, where he has a live shot.
Excuse me, pardon that. It seems like those live feeds, just because of that connection, is having some technical difficulties again. We're going to actually go take a look at what students are saying around campus.
Ashley Lincoln, and this past Friday I went around on and off campus asking HPU students how they decided to prepare for this weekend's potential snow.
So I haven't, and I need to get on that, because if I don't, I won't have any water to drink for the whole weekend, so I need to go to Target, actually. So I got a bunch of snacks last night, and after I get off work today, I'm going to go move my car to the parking deck.
Right, so I'm from New Jersey, so I've done a lot of preparation just because I'm a little bit familiar of just like making sure I have enough food in the house and just being sure I'm going to put my car in the parking deck because I don't want it to get snowed on or like iced down. But personally, I don't know if we're actually going to get a whole lot of snow. I do believe, though, that we're going to get a lot of ice, and that's what's worrying me. I will not be driving, and I hope no North Carolina drivers will be driving.
I'm going to say as of right now, I have not done a lot. I've pretty much just been hoping that it's just not going to snow because I don't believe it's going to be 18 to 20 inches. But just for safety, tonight I will be going to like the nearest Walmart and just grab a small food supply, like some small food supplies, and just, you know, hunker down. But I don't know, I don't think it's going to be super crazy. I hope everyone's safe though. But
okay, so how I prepared as an off-campus student for the storm this weekend was I stocked up on a bunch of non-perishable foods. I filled up my gas tank, and I made sure I filled up all my devices with charge and my power banks as well.
I'm gonna fly out actually to see my sister's wedding. So I've been packing. That's how I've been preparing. It has delayed it. Delay after delay after delay after delay. It's actually tonight, so I'm gonna go home, get my bags, and go, hopefully.
While I had them, I decided to ask them if they believed that transportation and dining would be affected due to potential ice.
It may. I wouldn't be shocked if, like, you know, the roads are like a little bit icier. So I definitely think when it comes down to like driving and stuff, people should be safe and shouldn't, like, you know, make any long road trips or anything like that, especially just when it's snowing, because you don't want the roads to freeze over and you, like, you know, slide off or anything like that. But, you know, dining may be impacted, but I hope not, because I'll have the food here.
Probably not. I hope not. I think, well, I know that the school is going to have like dining people readily available, so I don't think it'll affect dining. And we have a lot of rock salt coming, so maybe transportation a little bit depending on how icy it gets.
And I do think that that'll affect the High Point University shuttle system, but hopefully they'll do what they have said they will do, and that is have all the dining locations open.
I think it's been a lot of overreaction. I don't think it's gonna be that bad. And the stores have no bread, eggs, or milk, so there's that. Way too much of an overreaction. We'll be fine. Yeah.
It's gonna be hard to travel, and there's gonna be ice on the roads, and as you know, people from North Carolina don't know how to drive when there's even a thin layer of ice on the road. So good luck, everyone.
Jake, how are you preparing for the winter storm? How have you prepared?
Yeah, I filled up my car with gas, Nick, moved it over to the parking garage. You know, these are the things that the Campus Concierge has been sending out and urging to us these last few days, right? How are you going to prepare? What is going on with that? And it really all depends on what the weather happens and what transpires over the next few hours. Is the snow happen faster and, you know, more than they anticipated, or does that ice sleet mix come in and, you know, cause icier roads? We just don't know. And like I said, we do have a team of live reporters spread out all across the area. We are working to get their connection back up right now. As we are undergoing, obviously, this is a winter event, so we're undergoing this infrastructure in this area is not built for these types of events. So we're losing connections with them frequently. We are working diligently, our team in the control room, to get those connections back up. But we are going to toss over to a commercial right now. We'll be back with you in just a minute.
When the game is on the line, championship teams know the game plan. They communicate and work together to win. We all need a game plan to protect ourselves online. Talk to family and friends so they know how to stay safe too. Create strong passwords. Turn on multi-factor authentication. Update software and recognize and report phishing, because online safety is not something you want to follow. Get more game-winning tips at CISA.gov/secure-our-world. Then share them with family and friends.
Another teenager, victim to fake pills. That smells like big crime that needs to be stopped. Before buying pills online, think about this. Should buying prescription pills be this easy? Did you know that fake prescription pills may contain fentanyl at an amount small enough to fit a body? Before buying pills for social media, think again. Learn more at mcgruffpsa.org and go for real.
I enlisted as a medic to be there to help my patients, and after an injury, I found myself as a patient. I experienced post-traumatic seizures. Depression is a big one that comes along with it, PTSD. So I pursued my PhD in neuroscience and regenerative medicine. The coalition has helped fund my academic pursuits. They genuinely care about helping the vet in whatever way they can. Through supporting the coalition, you're supporting some of the veterans that have the biggest needs.
Visit SaluteHeroes.org to learn more.
We put our trust in professionals with years of training to help us lead healthy lives. We rely on them to do their jobs with diligence and dedication, because if they don't, our lives are on the line. Clean water is essential to survive. 98% of fresh water lies underground, which must be accessed by trained groundwater professionals. One trained groundwater professional can ensure the health of an entire community. Don't take clean water for granted. Learn how to protect our water at groundwater.okstate.edu.
In a child's life talk early and often about the dangers of underage drinking, the message gets stronger every time. Talk. They hear you.
What makes essential workers essential?
We keep where you work and live clean and safe.
We harvest fresh produce for your families to eat.
We help you heal when you're sick. Essential workers help our nation run. You're in every corner of our country and come from all over the globe. I'm Marty Walsh. The Wage and Hour Division at the Department of Labor helps ensure you receive the essential protections you deserve. Visit our website or call 866-4US-WAGE.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Labor.
Number one, obviously, is safety. We definitely call 811 to find out if there are any buried lines, fiber optic, whether it be telephone or pipeline or anything. Don't take a chance. Don't think you know and say, well, I don't remember anything being put in there. Call 811 and make sure that that's identified, that there isn't something there before you make that crossing. Because in the end, we want everybody going home.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
If you get a phone call, do not talk to the person.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They want to get your number, put in a false claim. Just hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it. Call the Senior Medicare Patrol.
If you suspect Medicare fraud, contact the Senior Medicare Patrol in your state.
And at the current moment, it is currently 20 degrees outside, feels like 8, and we haven't really seen anything much right now, but in the next hour and the next couple hours overnight and into tomorrow, we do expect to see a lot of freezing rain as well as some ice. At 9 p.m., we will see some light wintry mix. At 10 p.m., we will see some freezing rain up until about 2 a.m., and that should really, it's going to dive down to about 21 degrees, and that should stick up until 5 a.m. when it's going to turn into sleet until the rest of the morning, and then from there it's going to go back into freezing rain from 9 to 11 a.m. So a night full of freezing rain, which again, you cannot be out on the roads in these dangerous conditions because 20 degrees, right? That's how it sticks, and that's when black ice starts to form, and people out on the roads have got to be careful and got to only be out on the roads if necessary.
Yeah, and we've been, Nick and I in the commercial here, we've been on social media, checking what people are saying in our area here, and they are talking about these slick road conditions that are happening right now. But we are happy to say our team of reporters, like we said, are spread out throughout the entire area. Our team coverage begins with Harper Anderson live outside the Slane Student Center. Harper?
Good evening. This is Harper Anderson. I'm standing outside the Slane Student Center, which is one of High Point's 3 warming lounges for tonight and the following weekend. High Point staff has been preparing for days for this storm, and due to the freezing rain, hail, and high winds, we're expecting many power outages throughout dorms on High Point's campus. These lounges will be set up in case your power does go out. You have a place that's guaranteed to not only be warm, but you'll have access to food and activities throughout the day. The weather is very cold outside right now, and we're expecting the rain and hail is only going to continue. So this lack of power is looking very promising over the next few days, and these lounges are looking like they're going to be put to good use.
Harper, thank you. Due to the inclement weather expected for the weekend, the HPU Athletic Department on Thursday made the decision to move both of their scheduled Saturday events to Friday evening. The men's basketball team was originally supposed to travel to Virginia for a matchup against Radford that was set to tip off a little over an hour ago. However, the game was moved to last night at 7 p.m. The women's basketball team also moved their game from the original scheduled time of 2 p.m. earlier today to last night at 7 p.m. And at this time, all other campus-wide events are on a regular schedule, but should dangerous weather conditions require cancellations or rescheduling, event leaders will be contacted. Fine dining locations have closed early this evening due to the storm. If an event is canceled or rescheduled, these will be communicated via HPU email, as well as a snow and winter weather page on the highpoint.edu website. Any inclement weather updates will be communicated through that page.
And as we said a little earlier, at this time, all classes are on normal schedule for Monday. However, if a major storm strikes down, updates on classes will be communicated by 5:30 a.m. on Monday, monitoring via HPU email and social media to all student and faculty. We're looking now over to the PTI airport, and Nick, I know you've been kind of watching that. We've been communicating with that airport throughout the day.
Yeah, and we've seen quite a lot of cancellations. The Piedmont Triad International Airport again, has seen a lot of delays and cancellations and today. And
yeah, and like you said, it's kind of, you know, you just see those cancellations. The PTI released that statement a little earlier, and they said that they weren't closing the airport down, but you know, they were monitoring any possible cancellations that they might have to.
We've seen over 24 flights just tonight be canceled and over 4 be delayed. Only 35 airports departed from PTI today, over half already canceled.
Yeah, well, we have our Marissa Janis standing by with us. She's always got the weather forecast, and, you know, she's been digging deep into this storm all week, so we're going to send it over to Marissa.
Here is something that is going to help us for time to prepare for this storm heading into tomorrow, tonight, and then also Monday morning. So this is very important, but your pets outside, make sure that they are indoors. Make sure that they have their medication, that they have their extra food, and that they have their bedding, and that they are indoors because they need to be indoors just as much as we do out of this cold weather. Now, another thing we need to do is we need to charge all of your backup batteries and then charge your electronics while you're at it. It's very important that you have all these things in case of an emergency, as the weather is going to be very unpredictable, so just make sure just in case. Now, always, always, always locate your flashlights and make sure that you have those with you. It's very important that in a state of emergency that you have flashlights in case you lose power. Now, also another thing, before it gets crazy, you want to make sure that you fill your car up with gas to make sure that you have some gas. So that is just something, these are 3 things that you can do, kind of a checklist to make sure that you prepare. Now, even though you want to fill your car up with gas, you want to be careful about the sleet and the freezing rain. So, for sleet, I know it kind of gets confusing on what is sleet and what is freezing rain. So, sleet is considered frozen raindrops. Now, sleet is what's happening outside right now, and that's frozen little ice pellets that are falling from the sky. So it starts out as raindrops, and then it falls down. So this is very important to be careful of because of the slippery roads. So this is happening right now, so the roads are very slick because it's just started sleeting. So those are small ice pellets. Now, there is crunchy coating on the ground, and this is what's going to kind of build up as it continues on throughout the evening. Now, it is a thin layer of ice, and they are very small ice pellets that are falling down right now. So freezing rain, what is the difference? So freezing rain is liquid rain that freezes between contact. So what happens is when freezing rain falls from the sky, it starts out as a water droplet, and then immediately it hits to the surface and becomes ice. So this is very, very dangerous. So this causes black ice, and you want to make sure that you are very aware of what this can look like. As when you're driving or when you're walking, you might see a clear glossy patch on the sidewalk or on the roads, and this is black ice, and this is the freezing rain. So you have to be very careful, and you have to assume that anything freezing right now is just super, super black ice. Now, it's also heavy on the trees and on the power lines, so you want to make sure that in case we lose power, that's one of the reasons. So you just want to be aware and always kind of be cautious of that. So going into the black ice, how can we avoid it? So black ice, again, that's a clear ice that we cannot see. So again, you see a clear glossy patch on the ground, that is going to be black ice. So when you're driving down the road, you want to make sure that you are keeping your distance, stopping, and you're just watching very carefully and being very aware. But if you can, please do stay off the roads. Now, I know that's always not the most ideal situation, but please just make sure that you are keeping your safety first. Now, avoid staying off roads, slow down, and watch for those cues. So that's kind of what we're doing to keep our roads, to keep the roads safe and to keep our viewers at home. Just know, don't get on the roads right now if you absolutely avoid it at all costs.
All right, Marissa, we appreciate that, and we'll check back in with you in a few minutes. Nick, we do have some breaking news we just learned, and I'm going to read it off my computer here because as we get the information, we're sharing it with you in live time. So we did just learn that HPU Offbeats and Takata Tones were scheduled to compete at the Carolina Theater in Durham against 11 groups from the Southeast region. This year was the first year in about 30 years this competition was canceled due to the storm, and this leaves both a cappella groups without any options now.
And again, just showing the severity of this winter storm. Again, everybody needs to be cautious. This is a serious winter storm. Everybody stay off the roads, stay safe, stay at home, and just make sure you guys are all aware of what is going on outside. Tune into your local news and stay safe.
Yeah, for sure. We have Jordan Bankston out in the field for us. Jordan, what can you tell us?
Yeah. Jake and Nick, I'm right here at Publix. And Jake, let me tell you something. This parking lot was completely full. Now it's empty because Publix decided to close kind of early today because in the midst of the ice storm that's happening. Now, let me tell you something real quick. I had the opportunity to go around campus and go around town and ask people what they think about the ice storm approaching.
Empty shelves, limited supplies, and sold-out essentials. Local grocery stores are packed as residents stock up ahead of the winter storm.
More people has came. A lot of people are more worried about the weather. We're running low on milk, stuff like that. They've been buying up toilet paper, water. Yeah, some are even overreacting about it, so it's nothing we really can do.
But many believe that there are some things you can do in order to see the other side of the storm.
Be prepared. We got chips, we got meat, we got pickles, hot sauce, candy, snacks.
The extreme preparation also stems from North Carolina Governor Josh Stein after he declared a state of emergency for North Carolina residents. He took to X saying, quote, "North Carolina, a winter storm is on the way. We are taking it seriously, and so should you." The state emergency response team has been activated ahead of the storm's arrival. Between snow, ice, freezing rain, and cold temperatures, residents should expect major disruptions to daily life, possibly lasting several days. Be prepared and look out for those who are vulnerable. I continue to be inspired by people who are always ready to lend a helping hand to their neighbors in need. We will get through this storm together.
I feel like we got to take this serious action. Make sure we have a better preparation, food. Make sure you have lights, gas, and watering and stuff like that. Cause you never know what can happen in these type of situations when it come down to winter storm.
And while some are preparing for the right now, there are others that don't know what will happen next week.
Here it's like, there's a little ice and the whole place shuts down because I'm a teacher. So right now we're waiting to see if we're going to go remote or not. So, yeah.
Tonight and tomorrow morning, what will be happen tomorrow morning, or, I'm worried about myself, how long I have to open the store, never know, my employee or, my co-worker, they might not show up at the evening shift, so that I have to cover their shift, so I'm worried about that,
Yeah, and Jake and Nick, as I was saying, the community is very concerned about a lot of things. But I want to show you something real quick. I want to show you a quick thing real quick. Okay, look, I'm from Miami, so we don't usually have this, but I want to show you guys. The storm started about 30 minutes ago. I'm able to slide. My mic fell, but I'm able to slide in the parking lot. And so it brings concern of what this ice storm can actually do and where it can take us. Reporting out on North Main Street, I'm Jordan Bankston, HPU Vision, All Access.
Well, thank you, Jordan. Obviously, showing the slick conditions on the roads right now, and Publix was closed at 7:30. The normal time it closes at 10 p.m. It closed 2.5 hours earlier, which most grocery stores in the area are doing.
Yeah, and we learned that Walmart closed early and Target closed early as well. And I believe we have Peyton Yaus at Target. We'll check in with him in just a second here as we walk through these things. We'll be with him in a second. But Nick, we do have a few other things we want to talk about. And like we told you, we're learning this information when you learn it as well. This storm just began a little over an hour and a half ago. So as this information comes in, we're relaying it over to you by our producers who are working in the control room for us. And so we have learned about those flight cancellations that we talked about. Remember, Charlotte Airport has over 315 cancellations or delays as of 7:45. There's been over 4,000 cancellations in the entire United States today so far. There's been 72 cancellations so far throughout the day at Raleigh-Durham Airport. And there's also been 26 delays at RDU today as well. And Nick, this is the most crazy thing. 538 departure flights have been canceled from Charlotte tomorrow ahead of this ice storm.
Yeah, and I mentioned PTI, a smaller airport, right?
Yeah.
And Charlotte, a much bigger airport, is experiencing much more delays and cancellations. This is big news for people trying to travel, obviously, and we are unsure when these delays are, when these will be rescheduled, right? And if you're traveling right now anywhere, not even just in the southeast region, you need to take caution because of these conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. And be sure to stay tuned and keep those phones charged, right? The slick conditions can cause outages on the fly. That's part of the issues we've been having. I'm getting all my Ring notifications, and, it's people having these internet outages right here on campus. So we are really, really, really watching these conditions closely. But Nick, we now have Jake Gutman, who's actually over in Village on campus. Jake, what can you tell us about the conditions that you're seeing?
I'm here outside Aldridge Village where the sleet is falling down and roads are already feeling slippery. I spoke to someone just under an hour ago who was walking into Aldridge Village 1 and had slipped once or twice coming on their way in, and I can already slip and slide on the ground as I'm walking around here, but very unsafe, the roads right now, so be very careful if you must drive. Otherwise, please stay off the roads. If your car is in the parking lot, be sure to be aware of the conditions that are in place. If you can make it to the parking deck, that's great, but otherwise stay where you are right now. The roads currently are very icy. And the campus has prepared with over 110 tons of rock salt for the roads, as well as 88 tons of ice melt to prepare for this. So hopefully it doesn't get too much worse, but this is just the start of it. And so be safe out there. Back to you, Jake and Nick at the desk.
Guys, and we talked about it earlier, the amount of power outages that we've seen. Duke Energy, over 835 people in Forsyth County have experienced power outages, and it's important to make sure, again, your phones are charged, you have food prepared ready just in case these power outages last more than into the morning. We are unsure, Duke Energy is unsure when these power outages, when they're able to get back live. And again, make sure electronics are charged, make sure food is prepared, and lights are going to be going off, so make sure you are warm. And we're unsure about these conditions right now, but Duke Energy should have this figured out, but again, unclear at the moment. Again, Forsyth County experiencing over 835 outages, Guilford County over 100, and we've seen plenty of other counties experiencing outages as well.
Yeah, and let's take a look at this graphic right here. In Forsyth County, we're seeing 16 power outages. We are seeing 82 in Guilford County. In Alamance County, we are seeing just 1. And in Randolph County, we are seeing 0. So that is all information. And Nick, as I was saying that, you actually, it's crazy how this works, right? Because this is all live. We are learning this live. Nick just happened to refresh his computer right here, and you have an update for us.
As of 6:41 p.m., this is 2.5 hours ago, 835 Duke Energy customers in Forsyth County are without power. Again, we are receiving this information live, and we're going to keep you guys up to date. Again, this was 3 hours ago, so as we are getting more freezing rain and more snow, more ice, we will be seeing more power outages go out and higher than this number, than 835.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I believe we have Harper Anderson back with us now live. Harper, what can you tell us about what you're seeing now? Are conditions around campus starting to get worse?
High Point has been doing a lot to prepare for this storm, not only creating the warming shelters, but helping better train our RAs in different situations. One of the reasons that they were able to do this is because without power, anything that could go wrong, any emergency, and now has a higher escalation level. So what they've done is they created safety boxes and trained RAs in everything that could go wrong. One example is every RA has an air horn. So if the power were to go out and there was a fire, they'll use an air horn to indicate that there is a fire and that people need to evacuate that building. They were giving heated blankets in case people needed a little bit of extra heat. They have space heaters at their disposal. They have different solutions in case there's cold air getting in outside, so they can patch up windows and ensure that their residents stay warm. And they're able to have headlights, flood lamps in case there's any lighting that's needed throughout their dorm. High Point truly did a great job preparing for this storm, and now we're just waiting to see what comes next.
And we are going to be right back with Peyton Yous.
Childhood is critically important for early brain development. Children's brains are literally being shaped by their physical environment and the quality of the relationships that they have.
What? We have to go. We can't be out. We don't want to set up outside. We're going to have to walk outside. All the way.
About which new drugs to approve. Find the answers at fda.gov/drugs.
Hey, Dad. The pharmacy called. Sounds like you still haven't picked up your heart medication. Are you all right?
Hey, Frank, it's Sally. I got your voicemail earlier. So your nephew asked you for another loan?
It's on all of us to know the signs. Essential community services are available to help. Don't let your call go unanswered. Call APS or visit our website to learn more.
We are Lions International, one association of global volunteers, one foundation for humanitarian grants, shaping the future, one act of kindness at a time.
Counterfeits are made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. Each year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products are sold in the U.S. I smell big crime. Think about it. If you don't know where the products came from, how can you know where the money goes? You're smart. Buy smart. Go for real.
Hey, I'm worried about your parents. We need to show them how to spot phishing emails.
Agree, the scammers are out of control.
And we need to show them how to use a password manager. Plus, help them add multi-factor authentication.
Yes, we use MFA at work, and it's great. Great cake. I'll use MFA to verify my purchase. Software update? Done. Time to celebrate.
For more information on how to keep yourself and those you care about safe online, go to cisa.gov/secure-our-world.
And earlier today, I was able to stop by the local gas stations in High Point to check out to see what those customers were doing in preparing for the winter storm, and we will shoot it over to that. Take a look. Just hours away from what could be one of the largest ice storms in North Carolina in decades. Students and High Point residents are gearing up for the winter storm by ensuring their gas tanks are full.
Woo, how I'm preparing for the winter storm. First of all, I'm gassing up my car because I don't know. I may have to go out there and sit in the car and keep warm. But right now, I'm getting gas. I've prepared my home with food and, you know, all the necessities that we're needing. I'm kind of excited and scared at the same time because you just never know. But for the most part, I am filling up. Go get your gas, because if you don't do anything else, you can go out and get in your car and you can just have some warm heat. But if you don't have no gas, you can't do anything.
It is unclear at the moment on the severity of the winter storm, but the Triad can expect ice and freezing rain. It is also unclear on if gas stations or anything will be open in the coming days, so people are preparing for any situation, because if the storm is as bad as most forecasts say, we can expect many closures across the Triad.
Certainly some things are closed, but it's important in case, you know, gas stations might be closed because there's no attendants to be there. Like for emergency situations, like you're running low on heat, you gotta go grab a heater. It's important to go grab a full tank of gas. Also to, you know, go help somebody out in need, like your friend's car got stuck, you gotta go over there and go pick them up.
Other people are taking different extremes and using their survival instincts to possibly save them in case of an emergency during this storm.
So, you know, we're filling up the gas tanks to make sure that, you know, if we are stuck in the, you know, out in the country, we do get back to, you know, our family if we need to, or an emergency. Most importantly, you know, whenever it gets full of traffic in the gas stations, we don't want to be in that line, right? So that's how we're preparing, make sure that we're not stuck with something that, you know, is necessary. But most importantly, we want to make sure that, hey, I don't know, for one, my thought was I could siphon the gas out of the truck, right? And use that as a backup. So just trying to have some survival instincts, that's all.
As the storm is still hours away, make sure your gas tank is full before the storm hits in case of an emergency. For All Access News, I'm Nick Allen. And now we toss it over to Nathan Scala over on Main Street. Nathan, what is the weather looking like over there in High Point?
Yeah, and Nick, it looks like we're having some technical difficulties with that live shot there. We apologize for the technical difficulties. And as we've been saying all night, it's really important that we monitor the weather here as well, because there's just so many internet outages that are happening right now, and obviously our live connections there are through internet. So we will get back to Nathan here in just a moment once we get that technical difficulty sorted out here. But we know Peyton had the chance to actually head by Food Lion and check out what people are doing at Food Lion. So I believe we have the Food Lion story that is ready of what people are doing and what we're doing to prepare for the storm.
Outside of High Point University, doesn't see much action for most of the year. However, with multiple inches of snow expected this weekend, the often quiet supermarket has become a hotbed for High Point residents stocking up.
I'm going to be right in my house. That's where I'm going to be at. I don't drive in it. I don't run out here and get my car broke up and let somebody hit me. I hit them. No, I'm in. I don't come out.
Not really that much, nothing I can do. So I had to get some groceries, so I got that out of the way. Be around for other neighbors.
But despite what the forecast says, these residents wouldn't be surprised if the snowstorm is tamer than expected.
This is North Carolina. They scare us like that. Don't scare me, scare y'all. It might stay a day or two, and it's gone.
The forecast that I saw, I checked it today, and they said it's going to start raining tomorrow night, I guess. And turning over to freezing rain, but it doesn't smell like snow. It doesn't look like snow, but.
Of course, not everyone has the luxury of getting to stay inside. For some of High Point's first responders, it's a weekend on, not off.
We work today, we'll get off at 8 in the morning. Next crew will come in, and we'll come back in Sunday morning, and then just pretty much prepare to run calls. We have snow cables and chains prepped at our stations for if the snow's bad. But other than that, just sticking to everyday life how it normally is. Pretty much it. Just trying to survive.
Reporting live from High Point, I'm Peyton Yaus.
And now we turn it over to Marissa Janis when she has the forecast on what it looked like earlier and into the next few hours. Marissa, take it away.
So over the last 24 hours, we have been put in a weather warning. Now what that means is that started at 1 p.m. today, and it's in effect till 1 p.m. on Monday. So basically what that means is that let's look at our map, let's look at our forecast, and let's see what we have going on. So basically yesterday evening and this morning, we started to hear the rumors there was going to be the snow, the sleet, and the freezing rain. So now the sleet is happening right now from 9 to 11 p.m. during our power right now. So basically, what we're going to be going down is we're going to be looking at all of this. So there is going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be happening right now. So here is what we're going to be dealing with. So from 9 to 11, we're dealing with the sleet right now. And so basically that's the frozen ice pellets that are falling down. So that's going to move in overnight. So if you hear that sleet knocking on your bedroom door, that means that it is the frozen ice pellets. So it's moving into freezing rain now tomorrow morning. So basically what that means is that the ice is going to be in effect. So you need to be aware and be prepared for that. So basically what that means is looking at our map right now, we had the rain that's going to be moving in tomorrow morning. Then we had the little light flurries in our blue color right here. And now we have the freezing rain that's going to happen tomorrow, and the sleet is happening right now. That came in from Texas because Texas had it really bad today. Nashville had it really bad. And so it's moving from the west, and now it's going into the east. And it will continue to move into the east going in on Monday morning. So that is what we're dealing with, and that is what's happening right now with our forecast. And throughout the night, we'll keep you updated on what is going on and what is happening. But North Carolina is in that state of emergency till 1 p.m. on Monday. So it's just very important that you keep a look and you keep ahead to see, because freezing rain is when we get into some serious, serious trouble. So that's what we are having in effect at the moment. Now, also having into effect, we have our ice and sleet comparison, that's happening. So what that means, we have about 1/4 of an inch of ice that could be happening overnight. So that's what it'll look like right here. So basically, you know, it's small, but it's still very, very dangerous, because this is going to be the ice that you can't see when you're driving or walking on the roads and the sidewalks. So it's very important that you're aware of this. Now we have about 1/2 inch of ice. So this is what this will look like with the freezing rain. Now freezing rain, that's going to do is that's going to be our ground layer. That's going to be the layers that's going to build and continue on up. Now this is what High Point and the Triad area is expected to get. Now we are expected to get about 2 to 3 inches of sleet. And so this is those frozen ice pellets that are going to be on the ground. They're going to stack up, and it's going to be a crunchy layer. So this is the comparison of what we're going to get. Again, 2 to 3 inches of sleet is a lot, but the 1/4 and the 1/2 inch of ice, that's going to be something that you're going to have to look out for, because that's going to be where it's really slick, really dangerous, and really important that you keep focus and that you are very prepared for that. So that's kind of what we have. That is our comparison of the ice versus the sleet. Now, this is what is happening in right now, and we're going to hopefully see that sleet that's going to stick on the ground so that we don't have to get that freezing rain. So that's what is happening in our area in High Point at the moment right now. So, I mean, kind of crazy that we're expected to get that much sleet on the ground. I mean, 2 to 3 inches. I mean, High Point, we haven't seen that in forever. I know we were talking about it, that we haven't seen that in a long time in North Carolina. So how are we feeling about that right now?
It's crazy, Marissa. You know, Alexa Bick just walked into the studio. She's getting ready to go live here in a few minutes, and she said it's just unwalkable out there right now. I mean, the conditions are just deteriorating rapidly, and it worries us because, you know, you never know what's going to happen. You know, a little bit of ice can get stuck on a power line and can make the whole campus lose power. So, you know, the university has these things in place, and I know we'll be hearing from Jake in a few minutes on what that's all about.
Well, and we saw Jordan in his live shot, right? He's slipping them everywhere. And I was out earlier by Panther Commons, and they were dropping ice pellets onto the ground. Now, who knows how effective those are, right? But they were dropping a bunch in precaution for these sidewalks, because it is extremely dangerous for the ice. But now we toss it over to Jake Gutman, where he has information on the dining options on campus. Jake, take it away.
I'm here inside the Village Grill, where the dining location is still open, but only until 10 p.m. Across campus, all dining locations will be closed 10 p.m. today. So make sure to order those last-minute meals. We're going to be walking through here real quick, so if you need any snacks or anything at the Village Market or anywhere across campus, be sure to get that right now, because again, they're closing at 10 p.m. So whether you need snacks or drinks or anything, or you want to grab a frozen meal for the weekend, you might be stuck in your room. Hopefully the power does not go out and you're still able to heat some of this up, but grab it before 10 p.m. tonight if you can. And there's a whole lot of stock still available in the market today. This shelf has a lot of stuff on it, but this one doesn't. So be sure to get in as soon as you can to get your last minute supplies for this weekend, and as well as different drinks, snacks, medicines, and toiletry items, anything that you might need. You can get at this market and find your closest market across campus to get that for yourself as well. We have Harper Anderson reporting live to update you on what the campus is doing for dining locations for the rest of the week, so stay tuned for that. But again, order your last meal of the day, again, closing at 10 p.m. So back to you, Jake and Nick at the desk.
And thank you, Jake. And Jake, you have breaking news coming into you. Again, we are receiving information on the fly. Jake, what is the breaking news?
Yeah, and we just learned from our producers that NC State as well as UNC Chapel Hill have just announced that they have canceled all classes here on Monday on their campuses. So, like I said, this is breaking news. We just learned this into our control room. We also have some more breaking news near here, Nick. I'm going to read it off my screen. Just bear with me for a second. Durham County has declared a state of emergency. The latest forecast indicates that we will experience hazardous travel conditions, down trees, and power outages during this period. The county encourages all of its residents to prepare accordingly and use caution until the event has passed. And this was a statement released by Dr. Mike Lee, who is there in Durham County. So, this, like we said, this is changing rapidly. The conditions continue to deteriorate. Remember, we just talked about it, but Alexa Beck was just here in our studio and said that it's really like unwalkable outside.
Yeah, and all that is coming from the Triangle area, the Raleigh-Durham area. Curious to see what the Piedmont Triad area decides, right? And we should see that Wake County and Durham County are two of the biggest counties in North Carolina, and we should start to see Forsyth County and Guilford County make a decision on classes in the next coming days. Again, that has really nothing to do with us because High Point is a private institution, so High Point will make that decision on itself, but some of the other public universities around here will make their decisions soon in the coming hours after that decision of NC State and Chapel Hill just canceled their classes Monday. Now we toss it over to Harper Anderson, where he is live to give us the alternate options for this upcoming week.
What's the timeline looking like? Right now?
Some technical difficulties. Like we've been saying throughout the evening, our connection on campus, bear with us. We are doing the best we can. What we have is really difficult right now. I believe we've got Harper back on the line, though. Harper?
Closed at 10 p.m. tonight, but High Point has a plan. High Point will be shuttling workers to campus and even setting them up with housing when necessary to ensure that all dining locations will be open and students will be able to employ their meal plan and make full use out of this weekend, no matter what the weather. High Point is confirming that they want safe travels for all their employees, so they're getting shuttle buses set up to ensure every employee can get to campus safely and that meal plans are able to be employed throughout the entire week.
To Nathan Scala, where he again is over on Main Street. Nathan, take it away. What is the forecast looking like over there at the moment? Again, experiencing technical difficulties.
And Nick, we'll just go over some of this other stuff that we have here. We have a few updates on those power conditions. I'll read it for you here. We have learned that there were 16 power outages in Forsyth County, 82 in Guilford County. There's 1 in Alamance, and 0 in Randolph. There's also 0 reported right here in High Point. So although those conditions outside are not good, we are learning that there are no power outages in our general High Point area.
And again, we mentioned how, again, at 641, Duke Energy, there was 835 people without power. They got it down to 16. That just shows how fast those Duke Energy workers are working. Now I think we have Nathan Scala. We will toss it over to Main Street. Nathan, take it away on the latest forecast over there.
A street that's usually very lively on a Saturday night has turned into a barren wasteland. I mean, it is very cold out here. 20 degrees, feels like 10 degrees, the sleet and the hail non-stop. And we've been out here for about an hour and a half, and it's just been constant downpour. My friend's car is covered in it, and just every store and every restaurant down here just closing early, trying to get home and stay safe. The Krispy Kreme parked outside of, they closed an hour and a half early. The Walgreens down the street, they've closed. I mean, it is just a barren wasteland out here with all these people just trying to find warmth and find shelter before the imminent snow. It's just a lot.
And the High Point University campus concierge sent out an email earlier this afternoon regarding campus parking and strongly recommending students to park in the parking garage or in lots A or B. This is due to the possibility of your car being snowed in by plows, or if winter storm does continue to happen like it is right now, then there's a possibility of ice building up on those vehicles, which could break windshields. The concierge also suggested avoiding under trees and ice buildup that can cause branches or entire tree limbs to fall.
Yeah, and HPU Campus Enhancement worked earlier to dump ice melting pellets on each sidewalk and staircase to ensure the safety of students. Campus Enhancement will be working throughout the storm to ensure that all sidewalks and staircases are cleared of ice, freezing rain, or whatever might come. Again, we don't know at this current moment what is supposed to come, so we will see. So please use caution when walking on parking decks or the sidewalks. The university is urging students to move their vehicles and avoid parking under trees during the storms, as ice buildup can cause branches of trees to fall. The recommendation is to park in lots A or B or in the parking deck.
And the university said in a statement just shortly ago, stay indoors during the storm if possible, walk carefully on snow, icy sidewalks, keep dry and change wet clothes frequently to prevent a loss of body heat. Watch for signs of frostbite and hypothermia. If signs are seen, seek help immediately. Drive only if it's absolutely necessary. If you must drive, keep others informed of your travel plans.
Yeah, and now we're going to move it over to dining locations. Dining locations will remain open around campus throughout the storm, but actually we just got updates that they will be closing at 10 p.m. like we heard from Harper. And shelves are stocked in advance, emergency supplies are prepared, and plans are in place to transport critical employees to campus if needed. Any changes will be shared via email and social media like we just heard with dining options being closed at 10. These photos were posted to social media earlier showing the preparations that are being made. Campus enhancement teams have been working around the clock again to clear sidewalks and roadways preparations, including 110 tons of rock salt and more than 88 tons of ice melt.
Well, campus leadership is also checking in on generators and coordinating with city officials of High Point and the emergency management regarding road conditions and the power grid. Before we go any further, we want to take a quick commercial. We'll be right back.
Think buying fake products is harmless? Think again. Think fake cosmetics are tested and safe? Think again. Think that medicine you can buy off social media is high quality? Think again. Counterfeits are made in unsafe conditions, potentially using hazardous and even lethal ingredients that could harm you and others. Each year, billions of dollars worth of counterfeit products are sold in the U.S. I smell big crime. Think about it. If you don't know where the products came from, how could you know where the money goes? You're smart. Buy smart. Go for real.
Everyone has a community to lean on. A neighborhood, school, kids' teams, where you worship, work out, or any other place or group where you choose to belong. Communities can provide support when you need it, and even when you don't know you do. Like when it comes to preventing underage drinking and other substance use. You've talked with your kids and shared clear expectations, but you're not with them every minute. Your community members, friends and relatives, teachers and coaches, faith leaders, and other important adults in your kids' lives can be your eyes, ears, and a supportive influence when you're not around, reinforcing your messages with your kids and alerting you to warning signs of underage drinking or other substance use. So talk with your kids about these issues and involve the members of your community to help keep your kids safe, because when you talk, they hear you.
Finding life beyond Earth is no longer a dream. It's a discovery that will likely be made during our lifetime, and it will change everything. We are home to over 1 humanity's next steps to the stars. We are the SETI Institute.
I got you. Oh, yeah, I got him. Stupid controller froze again. You're saying that because you're losing. Hey, you bought the cheap one. My controller is junk too. Is this even real?
You're spending less, so...
Yeah? We'll just buy it again?
Smart kids.
Who are you?
Well, what are you?
Hey, I was wondering if you guys wanted to know. OMG, it's McGruff.
Yes, I am.
He's not my Uncle McGruff the crime dog. He's an imposter. He's a fake. Oh!
I am McGruff the crime dog. He is the fake. And so is that controller you're holding. It's gonna break. And that pops.
Could blow up in your face.
That's right, Scruff. Let's take a bite out of crime together and protect ourselves against fakes. Like him.
Who says you're not the fake?
Dude, you're literally missing an arm.
You are smart, kids. You're smart. Bye, smart.
And guys, as we've been continuing to tell you all night long, you're watching complete coverage of the major winter storm that is hitting the Triad area here. And Nick, we have a team of reporters that is spread out all around. We'll be checking with them throughout the evening as our team coverage continues. But we have our meteorologist, Marissa Janis, over at the Weather Wall. Marissa?
Yes, well, thank you guys. So let's break down our 5-day forecast to see what we have going on, starting with tonight and ending into Tuesday. So for Saturday, right now, it is 18 degrees outside, so it is absolutely freezing. And it's sleeting right now, so we're starting to see that snow. Now, the high today was 20 degrees. That's the coldest that has been all year. So this is what we have Saturday. This is starting that wintry mix, and it's moving into our area right now as we speak. So now going into Sunday, we're still getting that freezing rain right now. So that'll be into the evening tonight. So basically, it's going to be 27 degrees is the high, and the low is 25 degrees. So this is pretty major because it is still in those freezing temperatures where that freezing rain is going to stick and turn into the black ice. Now, moving into Monday, again, we see the sunshine, hello, but it doesn't mean a lot because when the rain, because of the cold temperatures, 9 degrees, that is so cold. That's the coldest that we have yet. It's going to refreeze the rain that had literally just been frozen. So then moving on into Tuesday, we have the high is 37, the low is 19 degrees. So this is when we'll start warming up a little bit so that freezing rain will hopefully melt and then go away so that we don't have to deal with the black ice. Now, moving on into Wednesday, we have, again, 36 degrees, 20 degrees. So anything that is going to freeze on the ground can refreeze. But this is what we have going on. So again, we have the winter storm, which is projected to be for the next couple of days, and in the next 48 hours, we're going to go through a lot of different things. So this is going to be kind of a crazy couple 48 hours. So this is going to be something that we're going to keep an eye on. Now, Jake, I know, is back at the desk. So Jake, what do you have for us?
Yeah, well, Nick, Marissa is talking about these cold temperatures, and it's frigid temperatures. You know, if we talked about the frostbite, but if there is a possibility that you are in a location where you could be exposed to frostbite, you are urged to go inside immediately and don't stay out in these conditions for long. You know, we've been communicating with our crews who are out in the fields, and we told them, you know, as soon as they are finished with those hits, to ensure that they are, you know, back in those vehicles or back in a warm space.
Yeah, and Marissa mentioned the freezing rain that is starting to drop down right now around this area, and we expect to see this throughout the night. It looks like we're going to be getting freezing rain all the way up until all overnight into the morning, and it doesn't look like it's going to stop most of the day. It looks like it's going to continue the rest of the day. The high is not going to get up until past 31 degrees. Again, This weather is very unexpected right now. We don't know what it's gonna look like in the morning. We are constantly learning new things as they come. Tomorrow we might wake up and there's 15 inches of snow. We don't know what it looks like right now, but at the moment it is 22 degrees, feels like 12 degrees, and at the moment we are getting freezing rain.
Yeah, and we can see through the windows here just those ice pellets that are dropping down, as we do this. And we've talked about all the cancellations. Let's run through that again one more time, Nick. We also have some updates on some power outages, which I'll get to in just a moment here. But we have learned that all dining locations will close at 10 p.m., which is just in 20 minutes here, 21 minutes. All dining locations on campus will close. Nick, you learned today that security and police officers are staying at a local hotel here on campus, so that there is adequate staff here on campus in the event that buildings lose power or things go out. So that is here as well. Like I said, though, we do have some updates for you. I'm going to read them here. There is 28 customers now. That number has gone up since the last time we talked to you. Of people without power in Forsyth County, there is 82 people without power in Guilford County. There's one person in Alamance County, and there's still none in Randolph. But the big number to talk about here, Nick, is there's nobody without power in High Point.
Yeah, and let's talk about this for a second. I mentioned it earlier. There was 835 people that were without power in Forsyth County. That number went down to 16, and now it's up to 28. But again, Duke Energy, like everybody on campus here and everybody having to do with the storm, is constantly working on the clock to make sure that these power outages are good and making sure that everybody is safe. And I want to get back to it for a second. High Point is, again, ensuring that their security and their campus officers are staying at the Marriott Hotel, and they're going to be shuttled back over here to ensure that they are here around the clock. The people that live in High Point, again, close to school, are able to stay at their houses, but the people that live far away, right, in the surrounding counties and the surrounding cities are able to stay at this hotel to make sure that they are able to make sure that the students are safe on campus. And I think that is huge on High Point's part to be able to ensure that safety for students.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to also, Nick, talk about for a second here this Duke Energy. I spoke to a spokesperson from Duke Energy yesterday, and I believe we have a soundbite ready from the spokesperson of Duke Energy on what the preparations that Duke Energy has prepared for in this storm.
And then finally, we're working closely with our state and local emergency officials, making sure we're all staying in touch, as we kind of enter the last hour of the preparation phase. We're just making sure everybody has what they need to, when the storm does hit, assess damage, clear trees, and restore power as soon as conditions are safe. What we're doing right now, we're positioning crews, equipment, materials in locations that might have the most severe weather. We have 18,000 crew members. I can say that right now we have workers from 27 states and Canada ready to respond. You can report it online on the Duke Energy website. If you have the Duke Energy mobile app, you can report it that way. You can also text out the word out, O-U-T, to 57801 if you have an outage. So that gives us, that real-time data to know what's going on. So we definitely encourage folks, if there is an outage, do that right away. And we'll be in contact with you through the process. You always recommend having your phone fully charged, having flashlights and extra batteries, those kind of things. I guess it kind of varies from person to person, but if indeed there is a power outage and you're dealing with that, that phone can be a great tool. So just make sure that's fully charged.
Yeah, and Nick, we heard from that spokesperson from Duke Energy. He's been awesome in giving us this information. I want to go over a few of those headlines that he mentioned here. I'm going to read them to you. Final preparations were underway to assess damage as they position those crews around the state of North Carolina. This is a really interesting thing. 22 base camps were set up around the Carolinas to provide crews with a place to eat, sleep, and pick up supplies and stage. There's been preparing to deploy damage, accessories, linesmen, and vegetation experts to those affected areas once the storm has passed on through this area. This is also, Nick, just a wild statistic. 18,000 crewmen have been sent here to North Carolina ahead of what could be potentially one of the most devastating ice storms that this area has seen in decades. And those crews have come from 27 states and Canada to prepare for the beginning of the storm. And the big thing here is if you lose power, you are urged to text OUT. That's O-U-T to 57801. That's again OUT, O-U-T to 57801, or report it, at the Duke Energy website.
Yeah, and North Carolina is not the only state that is affected. Over 20 states have declared states of emergency, which affects over 185 million people. But now we toss it over to Jordan Bankson, where he is live outside of Publix. Jordan, take it away.
Yeah, Jake and Nick, first of all, as you guys see, a little change of scenery because that parking lot was way too closed. It was way too cold. It was way too icy. But let me tell you something. I came across a few students on campus. Come over here real quick. Now, what are y'all doing outside? I want to know that. What are y'all doing outside?
We're hanging out with friends, meeting new people, and we're just taking in the great new weather of High Point. We haven't experienced a snowstorm in a couple of years, and it's just awesome. We're having a good time.
I mean, how do y'all feel about this cold? Because you guys aren't even, look at me and look at y'all. I mean, you guys.
So cold. I didn't prepare for this.
It's cold, but hey, we're getting through it. We're hanging out with people. Hopefully class will cancel on Monday. Hopefully. And it's going to be a great time.
Now, let me ask you, what are the plans for tomorrow? Is it sleep in or is it do some, what's going on?
Definitely sleeping in, maybe binging some movies. We'll see,
I disagree. I say we wake up early, get the day started, and just go after it, If we have a day off, take advantage of it. Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, well, two different personalities. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Jake and Nick, back to you guys.
Now we're going to take it over to a look around the nation for what the forecast across the country looks like. I just mentioned how over 20 states are in states of emergency: Alabama, Arkansas, Delaware, Georgia, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, Missouri, New Jersey, New York, of course, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia. So these states are constantly still receiving updates, right? And it's not just North Carolina that's affected. Over 185 million people are affected by this storm, and it just shows the magnitude of what this country is dealing with at this current moment.
Yeah, and the big thing about it, Nick, is that it's not just one type of precipitation, right? It's possibly, snow, sleet, hail, freezing rain. We don't know what's coming down. A little bit of, depending on where the moisture falls, could, decide whether it's freezing rain or sleet, right? The higher that heat is the more likely that it's going to be that sleet. But the lower that heat is the more likely that it's the freezing rain, because that's when it unfreezes when it hits the ground. So there's just really no way to tell what is coming down right now. We're entering into the thick of this storm, and we don't know. There's no way for us to tell. We only know what we know so far, and let's go through those power outages again. I think this is the big thing that we keep talking about, because the university here on campus has done so much to prepare for the possibility of power outages. And I just want to go over this again one more time here. The university has pre-stationed heating buses around campus. I believe we might have some footage of them. They are around campus here. They are 56 passenger buses. So if campus does lose power in that event, we do have these buses around campus where students can go to those buses and plug in their phones and be able to recharge and get back into the connection that they need to be able to have. So those are available for students here to be able to go to those buses if they need to.
And there are other options in Guilford County where people can stay. Single adults and families are able to go to the First Baptist Church in Guilford County and are able to stay there overnight up until Monday, right? And in case, and this is a great option for Guilford County to have for people that, again, these power outages are coming left and right? People are going to be losing power by the minute, by the hour. And for these people that are losing power, they can go to these places, like I just mentioned, First Baptist Church, and are able to go in there and stay in there up until Monday to keep warm.
Yeah, and Nick, we've been talking about it a lot, but Alexa Beck, she stopped in the studio on her way here as she was getting ready for her hit here. But we do have that update, and we are going to head over to Alexa, who we know is right outside of the School of Communication here on campus, but is going to talk about these slick and icy conditions. Alexa?
we were experiencing, again, technical difficulties. But for a second, again, I was just mentioning how much this storm has impacted the country. Have you seen a storm like this, of this magnitude, affecting the entire country? Usually when we see a snowstorm, it's affecting a little part, maybe a state or two, but this is affecting over 20 states. Have you seen this before?
No, and I haven't. And we just learned this. Across the nation, 192 million people from Arizona to Maine are under these winter weather advisories. So this is just, this is a huge storm. It's impacting 30, 40 states, across the country here. So we just don't know what's going to happen, as the storm moves east. We know our meteorologist team here with Marissa is tracking the storm, and we'll check back in with her in a few minutes here, is doing everything they can to find out where the storm is heading next, but we just don't know right now. There's too much uncertainty with the storm. Where is the mixing happening, right? Where is the sleet? Where is the freezing rain? Indiana, we just learned a few minutes ago, has activated its emergency operations center, as well as highway department teams from the National Guard to deploy there as well. So, as of 6:30 p.m., 145,000 total outages are reported. Over 47,000 of those outages are reported in Texas. So, these are crazy numbers, which we're learning on the fly. We know that the university has also brought in teams here to help with the campus preparations as well.
Yeah, and I was walking around campus, driving around, and like I just mentioned, there was campus enhancement teams that were dropping off pellets on the sidewalks and on the roads. I actually was stuck behind a truck, campus enhancement truck, that was dropping the ice pellets onto the road. So they've done a great job of preparing for this, and they have plows ready in case there is a lot of ice to be able to make sure that these roads are safe for students, because again, that is their top priority, is making sure that students and faculty are safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe we might have some of this video of the actual crew spreading that salt. If we have that video, we'd love for you to play it. As we go over this, I just want to say one more thing here. A public works official in Columbus, Ohio, who is in charge of snow operations, said that city workers and contractors would not be able to keep the streets clear just because of the magnitude of this storm as they go through here. Nick, right back here locally, we've been talking about the possibility of, cancellation of schools and things like that. And you talked about these Greensboro heating centers. I do want to talk about these Guilford County schools here for a second here. Guilford County has made the decision that all schools will be closed on Monday for a scheduled teacher workday in precaution that a major winter storm does hit the Piedmont Triad like it's expected to, and we're seeing right now is.
Yeah, and we heard earlier, you mentioned the breaking news earlier on how Carolina and NC State, two very big public universities, canceled their schools, and we're curious to see how the schools, when the counties will decide on these school closings. There's been a couple private schools in the Winston-Salem area, Winston-Salem Christian, as well as a couple daycares that have closed down in Forsyth County. We've seen it again. You just mentioned Guilford County schools have closed. So as the hours ramp up, again, it's Saturday at 9:52, and this freezing rain and this sleet is supposed to keep on going into the night and all day tomorrow. So it's almost guaranteed that we will see more school closings, not just in Guilford County and Forsyth County, but around the state of North Carolina.
Yeah, and on that topic, we learned earlier in the broadcast that NC State, and let me just refer to my notes here, but NC State is going to be closed on Monday. That we did learn that a little while ago. So, these things are happening as we're on the air. Remember, all dining locations are going to be closing within the next 10 minutes here. There's been 13 emergency shelters which have opened up in Davidson County, and all of those are inside of local fire departments. So we know that those will have backup generators and be able to function in the event that power does go out at those locations.
Yeah, and again, it's top priority to make sure all of your electronics are charged. Make sure that you have food ready in case that your power outage does go out. Again, Duke Energy is working fast to get these outages prepared. Again, I mentioned it earlier how there was 835 outages in Forsyth County, and now they got that number down to 28. So Duke Energy is constantly working on the go to make sure that these power outages are being taken care of.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much to uncover with this storm, and it is a humongous storm. It's spanning across, like we said, over 30 states as the storm makes its way east. We're going to check in with Marissa in just a minute here. We know she's been working over in the Weather Center to get updates on where the forecast is heading and what's coming up next. I believe Marissa is standing by over at the weather wall. Marissa, what can you tell us about the preparations that have been done? Remember, we've been talking about the black ice, the possibility of power outages. What should these folks do if they lose power?
Right, absolutely, Jake. Thank you so much. So let's talk about what to do in a power outage. So how this happens, again, just as Jake was mentioning, was that when the freezing rain gets on those power lines, if it gets to 0.25, that's going to mean that that's going to hang on those wires and it's going to freeze and you are going to lose power. Now, we hope that that does not happen, but it's a big, big possibility. So what to do in a power outage? One, you want to use your flashlights. You want to avoid candles. You have to avoid electricity as you don't have that. So you have to make sure that you use your flashlights and locate them. Now, you want to make sure that the heat is in and the cold is out. So close the windows, close those blinds, make sure that all doors are shut and locked, and make sure that all the heat that you had in were left inside. That's one of the most important things, to make sure that you have enough heat that's going to keep you warm throughout the night, throughout the morning, so that you have heat. Now, you want to make sure that you have your food and you want to have your electronics charged. So tonight, make sure that you charge all your electronics and those backup batteries. And then you also want to make sure that your food, you want to keep the freezer shut, you don't want to have to open it, and you want to make sure that you have food that you and your families can eat. So these are some of the things that you can do in events of a power outage, just to make it a little bit easier and a little less stressful, so that you don't have to stress about losing power, and that way it can go as seamless as possible. So these are just 3 things that you can do to ensure your safety. And that is what those 3 things are going to help you. Now, I know Jake has an update, so let's hear it from Jake.
We'll get back over to you in just a few minutes. As you continue to get these updates, please share them with us on the broadcast. Nick, actually, I think you have this one. You've learned some information about some flight cancellations.
Yeah, I just got this news update, right? And before the show started, we were looking at 2,000 to 3,000 flights have been canceled. Now we are up to 10,000 flights have been canceled across the entire United States. And I mentioned it earlier, these are not just at Piedmont Triad RDU in Charlotte, which have experienced a lot of cancellations and delays. I checked this morning, Piedmont Triad Airport had only 11 delays and cancellations. Now that number is up to almost 30. Almost 30. And this number, 10,000 flights have been canceled across the country, and 72 flights have been canceled at RDU International Airport, 26 delays, and 538 departures have been canceled at Charlotte. So over 10,000 flights have been canceled across the country. This is big news, and these numbers will continue to skyrocket as the night follows and into tomorrow morning.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said, we have our live reporters who are spread out all across campus. Harper Anderson joining us live now. He has a resident assistant talking about what is going on with those residence halls.
I'm Harper Anderson, and I'm here with one of our High Point RAs. What's your name?
I'm Alex.
Awesome. So Alex is an RA in New York, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the process that High Point's gone into, change up how RA duty is going to look throughout this storm. How has that impacted kind of what your job requires?
Yeah, so because of this storm, we've had extended our shifts this weekend. Usually it's only at nights, but because of this storm, we're going to be on duty all day in case of an emergency, such as power outage with streets. Right? So because this storm is such a huge deal and we want to be safe, we had a meeting Friday just to discuss the impact that it's going to be and what shifts we're going to be taking this weekend. Because of that, I'm going to be on duty a lot of the day tomorrow. And if anyone has any emergency, they will be able to call the RA phone. So if you guys have any emergency at all, don't feel free to call your RA.
Awesome. And what kind of training have you had in the event of a power outage or if pipes burst?
Yes. Two different things. For power outage, we have flashlights that do the case of that. But for pipe bursting, we have to relocate the student, but also minimize the impact of the pipe bursting. So it's gonna be a day tomorrow. It's gonna be an eventful day tomorrow.
Awesome. Point University has extra sheets and blankets in case anyone did have a pipe burst, needed to get relocated into a separate location. They'll still have sheets and blankets to ensure those students stay warm. And in terms of what happens in the instance where there's a power outage and fire alarms don't work, is there anything put in place for that?
Yeah, that situation is just gonna be a case of having to evacuate all of the students. The RAs will go around to the doors, make sure everyone's empty, and just making sure everyone's safe, right? Especially because each floor has an RA. It'll probably end up being the RAs will be communicating with the residents to ensure that everyone is safe and accounted for.
Awesome. And speaking with some community directors, they're saying in the instance of a fire, you'll hear an air horn blaring, which is another sign to get out of the building.
Yeah.
And one more thing, in terms of pipes bursting, the school is recommending when we do reach those freezing temperatures, and especially if your building loses power, keep the drawers of your sink open because the pipes having more access to the air in your room will help keep them warm and will minimize the risk of pipes bursting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. Do you have any tips or anything for students to kind of help keep them safe throughout this weekend?
Don't be dumb and stay safe this weekend, guys. All right.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Harper. And just for a second, all these cancellations, we've seen a lot of sporting events canceled as well, and not just at High Point. High Point had 2 basketball games postponed. The men's basketball game was scheduled for today, and it was moved to last night, as well as the women's basketball game was scheduled for earlier today at 2 p.m., but that was moved to yesterday. We've also seen other games being canceled as well. Duke men's basketball, UNC Chapel Hill, all those games were supposed to happen later tonight, and those were moved up into earlier today. So we've seen a lot of cancellations around athletics to ensure that students are safe, and most importantly, that fans are able to make it back home safely.
Yeah, absolutely. And we don't want to put any of our fans in any treacherous conditions that they might have to travel in. But we do have some information, actually. The women's basketball team, like you said, had moved their game that was originally scheduled up in Virginia to a 2 p.m. start time as well. So that all was taken care of. But we do actually want to head over to Nathan Scala, who is down at the Cobain Arena, taking a look at conditions there. So, Nathan? We apologize for that technical difficulty again. It looks like we are losing some connection. We'll get back over to Nathan in just a second here. Nick, let's continue to talk about these updates which we received. Remember, HPU dining locations has closed now officially. They closed just a minute ago at 10 p.m., and that's to allow that staff to go home early for the evening. The university said that they will provide an update on what tomorrow looks like. They have stocked up extra food on campus in the event that there is the need to give students extra food if those dining locations or if that staff is unable to come in. And you actually had some information on High Point University security and police.
Yeah, and the High Point security and police, I talked to some officers this morning and yesterday, and they both said that they were staying in the Marriott Hotel over by the old Oak Hollow Mall, and they're staying over there to ensure that they're able to get to campus safely. And so the people that are far away from campus that don't live locally, they are able to get shuttle into campus and live and go to work to ensure that the student safety is the top priority. And for a second, I want to get back to it, right? And the most important thing, that's why it was important. The most important thing is also these workers' safeties. The reason that they're closing at 10 p.m. is to ensure that the workers are able to get home safely too. And that's why it was most important for students to be able to go to Publix and Target and Walmart and Food Lion to be able to stack up on foods in preparation for the storm, just in case that these food options are not open tomorrow and the coming days.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just received a statement, what we'll get to in just a moment here. But first, we have Nathan Scala down at the Cobain Arena. We want to send it over to him.
A stadium that was supposed to have a women's basketball matchup between the High Point Panthers and the Gardner-Webb Running Bulldogs became a vacant arena today after both games, the women's game having to be pushed a day prior, something very rarely seen, pretty much never in Division I basketball. So first and foremost, I give a lot of credit to both teams for being able to make that happen. But this arena sitting vacant, as you can see behind me in the Panther statue, icicles forming from that running water. The water coming to a very much slow, it was pouring before he came here. But yeah, the arena just sitting vacant and empty, something you don't see very often with practices, with games, men's and women's, always happening here. This arena kind of sitting here, not very well salted. I've been sliding around waiting to be called. It's just been a very slippery location, but the main story being the great communication efforts between Gardner-Webb and High Point University to move the game prior. Of course, the game resulting in a Panther win, so obviously we're all excited about it, but just a very complicated situation you don't see very often, working out to move a game a day prior. Of course, the men as well. The men were away. They moved their game a day ahead when they're facing Radford, but just great communication and a lot of conflict to avoid the ice and snowstorm High Point is currently facing. Back to you at the desk.
Yeah, Nick, and a great update from Nathan there. Thank you very much. Nick, I want to read this statement that we just got sent just a minute ago. This is a university statement that they just released. So this, I'm going to go through this. Just bear with us here as we read these statements. Dear students, 2 final updates this evening. As we've been mentioning, all dining locations will end at 10 p.m. The silver and purple shuttle lines will run until 11 p.m. Those will stop running at 11 p.m. Please be careful if you move about campus. There will be sharing more updates in the morning hours. We also just received information that more than 400 manpower have been dedicated to preparing campus in the recent days. Main campus roads are treated and thoroughfares were pre-treated today, as Nick has been talking about throughout the day. They appreciate everyone who has taken time to be here on campus. And one last update, Nick, for you here, which is an interesting update as we head to break here, because it goes over the severity that this storm is taking. Duke Energy announced just at 9:40 p.m., so about 25 minutes ago, that energy officials said 134 customers are without power in the Durham area due to storm damage. So now we've been seeing the cold temperatures start, but now we're actually getting those storm damage reports coming in of these power outages in these areas.
And by the second, we are constantly getting updates from not only High Point University, but officials throughout Forsyth and Guilford County. When we come back from break, Jordan Bankson is moving around campus, and he will have a look to see what the forecast will look like. We'll be right back.
Like other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see.
DEPR.
Mental illness show on a scale. Sorting a health takes professional diagnosis, treatment.
Anxiety. Not so.
If you or a loved one's health don't quote on 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-866-sam.gov.
I know to be there to help and after injury, as a patient, I experienced post-traumatic stress along with it. And I realized that I was more interested in developing therapies rather than describing the current ones. So I pursued a PhD in neuroscience and regenerative medicine. It is doing what we can with service members today to help the service members tomorrow. I was my best friend. Just say, I'm okay right now.
Giving up help me care if we need them. We can help them.
The coalition has helped from my academic pursuits. They genuinely care about helping the vendor. It might be financial, it might be through support, it might be through helping them with a move or buying their homes. Because it's a coalition, you're supporting some of the things that have the biggest needs.
Visit soulheroes.org to learn more.
Email from school. How about the incident today?
Scary.
Did you have any idea?
And me and Derek at the game last night too. Did you have a clue?
Oh, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about all the other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
You heard all the time. But if you're concerned about it, anything, you just know money, a teacher, coach, counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if you don't help, speaking up about a problem, that's what helps from this whole.
I'm Mike Rowe, here today to encourage you to connect with 8-1 before you dig. I'm Mike Rowe, and I'm here because I love to dig there. It's true. Also because he's very small, and that's right. Here we can see Mike Rowe doing what he loves to do. Here we can see consequences of doing what he could have done. Why didn't 8-1-1? See?
The game is online. Teams know the game plan. Communicate together to win. They'll need a game and tackles on time so they know how to stay safe too. teenager. If that's like stop for by this on the desk, tripping special pills be this easy. You know the fake pills may take effect and amount small enough to fit a life of pills can be lethal if I think again. Learn more at mcgruffpca.org.
And now we're going to toss it over to Jordan, where he is over at Cottrell, and he is going to be in the over area.
Nick, for some coffee. That's how it is. Now, it has something back again, but it is that I hear a couple trash can. If mom, if you're watching, I promise you it's a clean trash can. I do it here. Ice. It's rock hard right here. It is ice. Is rock hard. It's not coming anywhere. That is what this store can do. That's why people right here in the community are scared and worried about what can this be. Now, roads are icy. Right here. My friend was at the parking lot. Coming from there to here, it was a few mistakes, it was a few mishaps just out here, but now slippery. So this could mean just for young people going to work or going to a child basketball game, like as getting some food, getting this right here, dorm right here to play. And I'm out here again. It is now, and again like cold rain. So it went, my bad. I'm sorry. From ice rain to cold rain. It's on right here so bipolar, and we need to do a better job at track because it goes from no rain at all to a whole blizzard. So we'll see. That's all for me right now. After that.
Jordan, you would imagine he would have gloves on. As cold as it seems outside, it's freezing rain outside, and he's wearing no gloves. I don't know what he's doing. You gotta love the visuals in the trash can.
Of course. I mean, he's out there. He literally shows that there's freezing rain on that trash can. But his jacket looks like
Yeah, and so we want to talk about these spots that we've been talking about a lot today. And we were this afternoon taking a look at some images of cities that are stationed around campus. These vans that are stationed here around campus to help in the event that they lose that power, right? If they lose power, these will be for students to go and get their phones charged, to find out. And as as Harper has been saying throughout the evening, you are able to find some extra around campus that they're having these looks out. I want to ask, what does it look like? What is he expecting? Are you expecting a warm up?
Right. So obviously tomorrow morning we're expecting the freezing rain, and luckily the freezing rain will be done by about 1 p.m. So you can expect that, and that goes into Monday. So we're looking at Monday morning also, but the precipitation will stop by 1 p.m. on Monday. Now, big deal, and what we'll have to deal with is what to do, look at the forecast and kind of keep ahead. But things are changing as we've had things keep changing. But what we'll do is we'll be able to head to it's sunny and it's a little warmer. Sorry, but we're going to have to look ahead, and that rain's going to refreeze, and it is going to refreeze. That's what we're going to have to do going into next week.
The temperatures look to, after that, look down a little more. Curious to see, what I just mentioned, refreeze overnight, which again causes more problems, ice, more dangerous conditions for people out there, people walking.
Of course.
Yeah, and Nick, Marissa, thank you. Nick and Marissa, I just want to go over a few of these things. I believe we have some updates on our situations right here in Guilford County. Remember, 8 people without power here in Guilford County, without power in the county, and 27 people in Forsyth County without power. We are expecting to learn some more information on some of these. There's over 378 people that are producers these shore without power. So this is really starting to take a toll on this area. And Marissa, you've been talking about this for the last few days now, right? We were expecting this free to come in and stuck to the power lines, and all the power lines turns up.
Right. It's a big problem to us right now, to help us right now. I mean, I think that we have a community that's really coming together, making sure to prevent any of this happening. And our university is doing a job at that as well. We have we're in a condo hotel. They are a worker there, and so that's just great there to be there. Our community is there for each other. But yes, those power outages, I mean, making sure you have lights, making sure that you have electronics at night, that's the key to making sure to ensure safety and ensure campus and
they're working, and Kent's working to ensure they have everything these power outages. You just mentioned how they've gotten down outages. It's still not high, but they are still working on these outages cleared up.
Absolutely. Well, we have some reports that are already have been moved on campus. I believe we have a reporter that is ready for us to go down at the parking garage.
We have a little bit of just getting new updates, and Most Airline RDU has reduced flight options on Saturday. West, Spirit, and Frontier Airlines officials said the Canadian scheduled RDU on Sunday said 100 have already been canceled. Those numbers could change over hours, so that is over 3/4 of the airlines canceled for tomorrow. And we haven't even seen what that's going to tomorrow, but these airports are already taking action to cancel them in the of everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And just some new information a moment ago, the Guilford County Animal Shelter is shelter for animals in preparation for storms. So residents that might have evacuated the area because maybe they live in an area that frequently is powered, they might go down as well, make sure they leave them in a safe spot. So we do know that there's 100 pets that are in the Guilford Animal Shelter, Marissa.
That's great that they're able to keep them there and to keep them in a space where they can have warmth and they can have food and they can have a place to stay. It's just people that they're safe, so they're just as much with you. I know my pets matter a lot more. So it's just like, this is amazing. This is awesome that we're able to have a community come together and work on that.
And that's great as well. In Guilford, there are multiple places where, let's put also say too, and shelter at the First Baptist Church in Greensboro. Stay there, single family, and families are allowed to stay till 7 a.m. there all weekend. Just get the they lose heat and lose all these things. They're able to go there. They're warm and they're safe.
Yeah, Nick, so we ice builds up on and UNICEF urging people to really move vehicles. Air line, just open space, there's no trees or parking garage. I did pull over campus. I actually have Jake Gutman, who is at the parking garage with these details.
I'm here with Danny. He's one of the leaders around campus currently. Can you tell us a little bit about the things going around?
Right now, we can see a plan like this one. We're going to build sidewalks, and then we're going to throw just to make sure it's a.
And this is the stages of the storm. So is there anything that's going to be in the works for if it gets any worse than this?
We're going to be here all night.
All right. So thank you very much for your work. And see you.
He's working like this all around day in and out. I was around the area in Hampton Commons around 3 or 4 p.m. and they were just getting out and put ice pellets onto the ground. And again, right now at the curve it's 10:20, so they're out there 7 hours. Ensuring the single place is to ensure the safety of every single student on this campus.
Yeah, and 100%. The campus enhancement team has worked around the clock. You've been seeing those stations for days in preparation for this storm, right? And we've seen reporters who have been covering all the different campus. So really, it's incredible to see all the prep work that has been done. I just learned from our producers here. We have learned that Trump has authorized emergency FEMA assistance for following states, including North. So we should expect to see FEMA here in this area. And Nick, you know, let's say which I'll go over in a second here, but I mean, because of this storm, we've been for days, and so we expect it's going to be crippled.
We've seen the weather change a lot. For a while, we saw it was supposed to hit 12 to 15 inches, and we heard it was supposed to be a lot of ice. 3 inches, it was supposed to be freezing rain. It was supposed to be sleet. So it's still clear what the weather is supposed to hit, but it just shows how